Hey everybody. Oop. I got myself shaving. I'll be right back. Well, so I guess that's how you can tell that this is live. You can tell this is live. So we'll give this a few minutes just to give some more time for some more people to show up here. Those of you that are showing up a little late might be wondering here. So I was getting ready this morning about 8 o'clock, and just shaved to make myself presentable. And I nicked I nicked my lip here, and got everything set up for the live stream today. And just went live here and saw myself in the camera and saw that it had started bleeding again. So I'm trying to trying to get myself sorted out, but I want to make sure that I was here on time today. So, so if you notice, I'll try to keep an eye on that. Let me switch this over here so I'm not as prevalent. There we go. So yeah, let me get this all set up. Thank you so much, all of you who are here at Facebook Live currently. We'll swap that side and show me. Yeah, pull that over there. There we go. So thank you everybody for coming in today. It looks like there's a few people here. If you could drop me a comment down below, I'd love to see you. Just say that you're here. And we're going to get started here in just another minute. Yeah, it's a good thing I shrank myself down there in the corner, because this thing, oh, you ever just, and as soon as I nicked myself, I was like, oh man, that is definitely going to show up on video. But here we are. I think it's important to bring you this information regardless. Please please try not be distracted by me, tending to myself down here in the corner. But yeah, we're going to get started here. We got a few people on the stream. That's awesome. Yeah. So Glenn, good to have you here. Thank you for coming in. I think you might find some very useful information today. We're going to be going over a bunch of applications. We're going to be going over a bunch of apps that are going to be helpful in your business. Things that's going to make your business run easier, things that is going to save you money, things that basically just going to make life a lot better for you as a business owner or professional. You also might hear my dogs barking in the background. This is coming out from the home studio. We have the white background here. I'm going to be in a little bit better setup next month. I'm going back to the old style studio with the television in the background and all that, because I think it's a little bit more engaging setup. But let's get this party started. All right. So my name is Kyle Sasser. I am the founder of BizTweaks. I'm also a realtor with Keller Williams St. Petersburg here in the Tampa Bay area. I also host a local show called Great Things Tampa Bay that I use. It helps me out in my real estate business as well. I've owned my own businesses either on my own or as a partner since 1999, including a telecommunications company where we started as two guys at a dining table, basically talking our way into Verizon, Sprint, Time Warner, and places like that. And now we have about 20-25 employees there. I don't have to do much there day to day anymore, but that does free up my time to pursue real estate and some other Avenues. Now, BizTweaks, a little bit of an interesting name there. So you might be asking yourself, what is up with that name? So a tweak is, 'cause every presentation needs a definition slide, right? So a tweak is to make a slight change to a machine, system, or other functional item to improve it. Sorry, I think I'm, I think I'm still bleeding here. So I firmly believe that every business can be massively improved with just a few tweaks, because there's always going to be room for improvement. I don't really think there's any. I mean, obviously there's business ideas that are past their prime, buggy whips, for example. But on average, most business ideas are fine. Like, they are businesses that could be very successful. And I think if you think about it for a little bit, if you man, I'm really still bleeding. If you think about it for a little bit, there's been some really dumb business ideas in the past that have generated a lot of money. I'm gonna go grab another another tissue real quick. I'll be back in 10 seconds. I'm on a video, sweetie. No. All right, sorry about that. We are definitely live. I think this one's going to be the record books for when live goes wrong. Let me see how this is actually looking on video. Oh yeah, that looks great. Me holding up tissue paper to try to stop this bleeding. All right, continuing on. Just got to soldier through, right? Feel free to give me some words of encouragement or comments or questions below if you have any. And if you see some blood streaming down my face, don't worry. I nicked myself this morning, and yeah, we're just trying to do the best we can here. So most businesses, whenever they've started, or professional careers or anything like this, usually they're a colander, in that they are having to do a lot of work to get the water across the finish line. So for the visualization, let's just say that you're putting leads and customers in here, and new business, you don't have your systems and processes quite right. A lot of those leads and contacts are going to be leaking out, falling out, because you don't quite have the messaging down right. You don't quite have the systems in place, and you're really struggling. You have to do 4 times, you have to do 4 times the work to get a customer and a sale across the line. Now, good businesses are more like a pail. So you're not losing as many customers as you take them through the process and across the finish line there. But, you do have some stuff slop out of the top from now and then. And it's still a lot of work. It's heavy. That pail gets heavy whenever after you have to make a few trips there. And honestly, this is where most businesses stop. Most people, whenever they get to this point with their business or career, they just kind of stop and they say, yeah, we're doing pretty good. I'm happy with this level of success. And, life's pretty good. Let's just call it a day. And then they stop. They stop improving. But the best businesses are the ones that keep innovating and keep improving their processes. And they actually build pipelines that almost fully automatically take their customer from the initial starting point and nearly effortlessly through the entire sales process, including support after the sale. And it's pretty much like a pipeline. You don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting to get the water from point A to point B, because all of the infrastructure is in place. Now, it does take a lot. It takes a lot longer and a little more thought to get to this point. But anyone that's studied infrastructure or efficiencies or anything like that knows that a pipeline is basically the best way to move any liquid object. And for those of you new to the stream, wondering why I keep holding, because I've seen a few more people join here. For those of you wondering why I keep holding this toilet paper up to my to my face, well, I really nicked myself this morning, and before I jumped on the stream here, I looked at myself in the mirror. I saw that I had a nick there, and I cleaned it up with some water. Jumped on the stream, and yeah, still actively making itself known. So, so I'm just gonna stay here, look as cool as I can, and just try to soldier through this. All right, let's go back over here. Okay. So, who is this video, this meeting? Who is BizTweaks for? Well, it's basically for anyone thinking to themselves, how do I close more sales? How do I find more time in my day to, spend time with my family? How do I find more time to do more marketing or get, all that stuff? If you keep thinking to yourself, there's got to be an easier way. There's got to be an easier way to stop this shaving nick from bleeding. If you're wondering what sort of marketing you need to be doing, if you're wondering how to make meetings more efficient, if you're wondering what sort of systems you should be putting in place in your business to make life easier, to make more money with less work, that is exactly what BizTweaks here is geared for. Now, 3 core tenets of all of my business decisions, courses, instruction, and honestly, these are the 3 keys that I apply to my own businesses as well. So number 1 is efficiency, in that there's almost always going to be a more efficient or better way to do something. Looking to make the business process and the sales process actually all processes, shipping, customer support, follow-up, and all that stuff, to make those as easy and as quick and as painless as possible for everybody, to bring value to the customer as well as making both myself and my employees' lives a lot easier. Constant improvement is another core tenet of mine, in that I firmly believe that every process can always be improved, both on its own and in the context of a larger organization or process. And then finally, and probably the most important part, is people. Because without people, there is no business. You need people to run the business, and employees, management, and advisors and things like that. And then you need customers who are also people. We're not quite at the point where computers are deciding to buy stocks and all that stuff, but by and large, people are still the ones making business decisions. And you always have to remember that there is a person on the other end of the line, and that you have to have that relationship with them for them to decide to do business with you. And it's very easy to feel that you are the lone business owner and everyone's out to get you, both customers and employees. And if you get in that mindset, it's a big negative downward spiral, and you're probably never going to be happy with your business, to be honest. Now, we are still in the midst of coronavirus, although we've had a little bit of a relaxation and stay-at-homes and all that stuff. I know here in Florida, because we are nationwide now with this, but here in Florida, we have relaxed restrictions a little bit. Beaches are open slightly. People can dine at restaurants, although we're at 25% capacity. But even with this, people are still very reluctant to make big decisions. And the reason why is because fear drives most people's decision making. So keep that in mind. Don't get mad. Don't try to, be overly forceful in trying to convince people to make a buying decision or something like that right now. It's only going to make yourself look bad. I know in the real estate market, I've been monitoring statistics daily, and the number of homes being put up for sale has basically been cut in half in the last 3 or 4 weeks compared to earlier in the year, and also compared to last year. Which real estate in such a large market as Tampa Bay here, which I'm in, That is a huge number. And it makes sense, people usually, when faced with a question of, do I want to do this, or do I want to possibly get sick and die, are basically always going to go with the safer, more conservative option. And I do have a call coming in, but I'm not going to answer that right this minute, because I am here with y'all. So, and I apologize for nicking myself. I know this is probably not the most professional video, but I promise there's going to be some great information here, and eventually this is going to stop bleeding on me. So the one thing you need to remember in your business is that things are always going to change. Even if you find the perfect process today, over the course of a year or 2 or 5 or 10, circumstances are going to change, the market's going to change, and it's your job as a business owner or professional to adjust and adapt to those change. It does you no good to sit there and cry about how the world is changing and it's unfair because you had the perfect process. The one constant in this world is that things are always going to change, and it's important for you to realize that and to adapt and go with it. And especially with this, with the current situation, it's honestly a bit of an opportunity, because currently you can find new ways to provide tremendous value to your customers. And that is likely to become your competitive advantage once all this stuff resolves. So don't see it as a negative. See it as a positive, an opportunity for you to improve your business and to make yourself better than the competition, so that you are the no-brainer decision for the customer to make. Now, originally this meeting was hosted locally here in St. Petersburg. And as part of it, I usually would do a mastermind, which is not quite optimal in this setup on YouTube Live here. YouTube Live just not really set up for collaborations and back and forths and all that good stuff. Make sure that, okay, yeah. Sorry, I was just making, because I know I have some friends watching this as well, so I just want to make sure that, because they would tell me if the sound wasn't working properly or something like that. So as part of the business meeting in St. Petersburg, I usually have a mastermind segment, which is where the business owners and professionals that are at the meeting, we go around. If anyone's having any issues or questions, something they want to try in their business, they'll put it in front of the group, and the group will advise and respond with things that they've tried before, things that they would recommend trying, or referrals to service providers or other folks that could maybe give them some more information. It's a really powerful way to rapidly work through something new. And unfortunately, since we can't meet face-to-face anymore, we haven't really been able to do that. So one thing I've been wanting to do is to actually host a mastermind online. So if that's something that you believe that you would be interested in trying out, just send me an email, Kyle@biztweaks.com, KYLE@BIZTWEAKS.com, and I'll get you on the waiting list. This is really like a last minute addition, so I don't really have like a sign up form or anything. Just send me an email to that link, or send me an email to that address, Kyle@biztweaks.com, and I'll get you on the list. My email is actually going to be written out on the last slide as well, if I remember correctly, so you can stay to the end. Worst case scenario, leave me a comment and I'll send it to you. Now we're about to dive into the meat of this. Oh man, I'm still bleeding. So we're about to dive into the meat here of, let's see how we're doing. Hey, yeah, we still got people here. So apparently me being injured and doing this is not hurting my viewership so much. So thank you so much for staying in here. So, it's basically, what are the things in your business that are the main time wasters? What do you spend a lot of time on that is annoying to you? And honestly, this is something for me to kind of gauge what problems you're having in your business so that I could prepare future videos for them. Because the funny thing is that most small businesses, which I think most of us watching this are probably, small, maybe medium-sized businesses, but the problems that we all have are basically the same. And there's usually a pretty easy solution to whatever troubles you're facing. I know in my own businesses, I've recently solved things such as how to send out a text message to a whole bunch of people, which I've had that set up for a while, but I've really kind of fine-tuned that a little bit. So for marketing purposes, so those of you that have signed up previously and I have your mobile phone numbers, you probably received a text message this morning notifying you of this meeting this morning. With QuickBooks, I've set up a way to where I can rapidly do my books in about an hour. Is all it takes me a month to do my books, and that's everything. So that's invoicing, vendor purchasing, credit card reconciliation, bank reconciliation. I've gotten that, and here's the thing: like that saves me a tremendous amount of money because I don't have to pay a bookkeeper to manually enter all that stuff into QuickBooks. So, whatever you do in your business or professional life that annoys you, that you dread doing, please leave me a comment below. Tell me what it is, and I'll use that to put together some future videos for you. Because the goal here is for me to help you with your business. Now, I forgot the title card there. So basically what we're talking about today, we're doing the App Avalanche. So this is going to be software tools, websites, applications, mobile phone apps that you are able to leverage in almost every business that is going to have a huge positive impact on your business as soon as you start using it, to be honest. So to get started off with, if you're not using a customer relationship management or manager or CRM, you need to start using one ASAP. I don't care what software you use. Some of the big players in the field are Salesforce and all that stuff. Personally, I use vtiger because it's very inexpensive and it has all the functionality of the very expensive per user Salesforce instances. Salesforce, I think, is like a couple $100 per user per month for the high end top model, and that's before you throw in all of the all the consulting and all that stuff. vtiger, on the other hand, is about as low as I think $10 is their low, and then their fully featured one, which will actually do more than Salesforce would, is about $45. And so you can handle your email marketing through it. You can handle a bunch of stuff. So let me go through the features here. So whenever you log in, you can see a dashboard, and this is literally the vtiger dashboard. So as soon as you log in, once you start putting your sales contact information for your customers and everything, you can put your products in there. You can track sales quotes. You can track, like support cases, and all that stuff. And then whenever you log in, you can see a dashboard like this that details out your. I think I'm doing good. You can see a dashboard here that lays out your sales information that will rapidly help you see what position your business is in. Are you doing the things that you need to be doing? Does your pipeline? Let me hit my laser pointer here. There we go. So this is your sales funnel. You can see like what stage and how many clients are in each stage of your sales funnel. You can track important events here. So this is just kind of the basic. In my real estate business, I have fine-tuned this dashboard with key performance indicators and other reporting metrics so that as soon as I log in every morning, I can see exactly if I am on track with where my business needs to be. It's very, very powerful to see that stuff, that information, as soon as you log in the morning. Sorry, I was just going to check my stuff here. So, okay, still good. All right, so next up, so whenever you have a contact record, this is all the information that you will see in your CRM. And the thing here, I know a lot of people will keep all the contacts in their mobile phone or maybe an Excel spreadsheet, but it's powerful to be able to see it like this. So we can see that, this is the contact, Mr. Michael Jordan, which, hats off if he's in your CRM. You can have a company organization name, who it's assigned to. So if you have multiple employees, you can assign certain contacts to certain employees, and they could either see everyone's or they could only see theirs. Very, very fine controlled information. Then you have some engagement score. That's basically just like how much they open your emails and all that good stuff. And then here, like the touch points, you can see like how many calls they've been on, how many mobile calls, how many times have they been in the customer portal, which, yes, vtiger does also offer a customer portal where your clients can log in and see their quotes, see their invoices. Yeah, it's crazy what this thing will do. It'll tell you how many emails that you've sent to them, how many they've opened, how many they've clicked on. And it does do autoresponders as well, which is email. Let's say you send an email, and depending upon how the person interacts with that email, you can then send them a different follow-up email. So if they look, let's say you send them a email for a Yeti cup and they click the link in that, you can send them a follow-up email saying, hey, saw that you were interested in the Yeti cup. Here's a discount. Do you want to buy it? Or if they didn't click it, you can then send them a different email for a different product until you find one that they are interested in. And again, it does all this for like $15-20 for the good baseline model. Very, very awesome. And if you need any help with implementations of this is one service that I do provide. And there's, in addition to that, if you would rather do it on your own, there's tons of trainings. Their customer support's very good as well, and can't recommend it enough. A good CRM is definitely the number one thing that every business should be doing. And if you're not, you're leaving a lot on the table. Next up, we got websites. Because a lot of businesses out there still don't have a good website. And a lot of people think it's overly complicated. You got to pay a programmer to do a whole bunch of stuff, and that's simply not true. Honestly, nine times out of 9, pretty much, WordPress is going to be able to do everything that you need. And once you start getting into, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of users a month, then, you might need something a little bit different than WordPress. And at that point, you should probably be able to pay somebody to develop it. But to me, proof of concept and getting something up and working to test, basically to get it in place and functional so that customers can go and buy something is more important than crafting the perfect item. Because let's face it, the first try is never going to be the right way. So you need something that's flexible enough that you can put it up, see what's working, see what's not working, and then rapidly iterate it to find something that is working great. So WordPress is a great option for that. You can pick your own themes there. They have some good free themes, and they also have some paid themes out there, so you don't have to sit there and meticulously plan everything out. And then this is Divi. This is basically a editor where you basically drag and drop blocks and text and pictures and images where you want it to be to design the website. Very, very, very easy to use and very powerful. There's also a ton of plugins and stuff like that. So anything you're thinking about doing, you can do on WordPress. I have yet to find an idea that I have not been able to put together in WordPress, and that is including um, delivery services, sports matching. So like if two players, like let's say two tennis players want to find each other to play, like there's a WordPress app that'll do it. There's social aspects, like if you want to build a community on your website, there's forums and like social sharing and stuff like that. Very, very, very powerful stuff. It's relatively easy to figure out, even for novices. So I can't recommend it enough. And if you've never tried it before, I think you should at least give it a shot to see, because it is one of the easiest. It's one of the easiest ways to get a website up, and it's also very well supported. There's tons of information. I think. Oh, I think I'm good. There's tons of information and videos on YouTube. So don't be afraid to dive into WordPress. And you can do it for free. WordPress.com, you can get in there, kind of mess around a little bit. Next up, video emails. This is a newish. This is a newish thing that you can do because, emails, let's face it, they fall a little flat. So there's actually a service now called BombBomb, where you can take a quick video of yourself and then send it to someone via email, and then they can view that video. And it does have a lot of impact. I think it's very specific to the industry because, so in real estate, I haven't had a lot of success with it so far as initially building the rapport and communication with the client versus a phone call. A phone call to me still seems. A phone call to me. Oops, let's go back. A phone call to me is still the number one way. Well, face to face is number one. Phone call is the number two way to rapidly build rapport and a relationship with somebody. But BombBomb, the video emails, they're a very cool way to get yourself in front of a prospect. And the main difference between this and like YouTube is with YouTube, they'd have to open the email, click a link, and all this other stuff. Whereas BombBomb, it's mainly designed to be very short and compact, like 20-second, 60-second videos. You want to make sure to personalize them as much as you can. And so the best responses I've had is when you record it, you actually specifically mention the person's name in there so that they know that you created that video just for them. But they do give a free trial. There's another service called Bonjoro, Bonjoro, does the same thing. They're actually free for a little bit longer. And I don't use this too much anymore, but I do use Bonjoro still on occasion whenever I think it would be very applicable. Next up, if you're anything like me, real estate agent, I am driving around to plenty of places. So I definitely like to track my mileages and expenses. This is actually, I did a video on these apps, and it's actually the highest performing YouTube video I've done. So a lot of people with interest in mileage and expense tracking apps. I've definitely tried a few of these. If you're a very small business with only a little bit of invoicing and expense tracking, QuickBooks Self-Employed is probably going to be your best bet because you can do it all in one app. Personally, I really don't like Intuit all that much, but it's a pretty good app. If you're looking more on the free side of things, Expensify is a good option, and it's good for tracking both your mileage and your receipts and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people, whenever I say, hey, you should be tracking your mileage if you're doing any sort of driving or delivery or anything like that, you should be tracking your mileage. And people look at it and they're like, it's 50 cents a mile. What does that add up to? Well, so for 2019, let me pull up my actual let me pull up my actual report here. So far in 2020, I have saved $1,608. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather have that $1,600 and $8 in my pocket than in the government's, because you do get to take that off of your taxes. Now, I didn't use this particular app for all of 2020, but for what I did use it for, or excuse me, 2019. But the 6 months I used it in 2019, I saved $2,598. So very significant. So if you're doing any sort of driving to meet with clients or anything like that, do be sure to download and use one of these mileage apps. It's basically just free money coming back to you. So Expensify is a good one. They also have a online segment where you can go and look at reports and stuff on the website. And, you can categorize things because not all mileage is necessarily, tax exempt or to get the mileage credit. This is an example of the QuickBooks Self-Employed. You can see it's both a app and the website as well. Cool thing about the QuickBooks thing is you can actually take payments via the app as well. So it's really if you're a small business, little boutique, it's really a one-stop shop for your entire business. It's really, really cool. Obviously, real estate, I'm not doing too much invoicing. It's mostly expenses and some commission deposits. But if you're a small boutique, QuickBooks Self-Employed, much as I hate Intuit, they are a pretty good option. And honestly, I still like them better than FreshBooks or some of the other online options. So this is an example of QuickBooks Self-Employed. Their mileage deductions. I don't think... Yeah, that is not me, because that's not my house. But that is an example of what the mileage trapping app looks like. Basically, you take a drive, and then you can categorize it afterwards. The app I'm currently using is MyLikeHugh, and it's a very cool little app. The other thing about these is nowadays you don't even have to have the app open, although it works a little better if you have it open than the background. But it will see you traveling in your car or in your bicycle or whatever, and then it will save those trips like this, and then you basically swipe. In the case of MyLikeHugh, you swipe to the right for business expenses or for business trips, and you swipe to the left for personal trips, and then it tallies up everything and gives you monthly reports and all that good stuff. It's awesome. Like I said, it has saved me thousands of dollars. If you are struggling to find time in your day, I highly recommend Toggl. So Toggl is a pretty cool time management app. And basically what it does is you can set projects or tasks or something like that you're working on. And then it basically just starts a timer. And then it keeps track of that time, and then it gives you a report, which doesn't sound very crazy. But I can tell you that whenever I did this for just a week, it was crazy the amount of time that I spent doing stuff that wasn't actually revenue generating. Now, you definitely have to be on point with it. You can't just put like work. Like you want to put... you don't want to get too specific, but you want to do like work, and then you want to track like when you start goofing off a little bit, which everybody does. So when you start looking at Facebook or playing a game on your phone or everything, put a line in there for goof off or whatever, and make sure to track it, because you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to have those numbers to be able to know where you need to improve on. If you're just guessing at stuff, you're really not going to have a lot of success in trying to make these improvements. Oops, and I hit the wrong button. So I want to check here just to see. All right, everybody's still here. Have you learned any good stuff so far? Any of these apps tickling your fancy? This is an example. You can also pull up reports on their website. I know that when I did this for 1 week, I literally found probably 6 or 7 hours, like almost a full work day, that I was losing just from shifting between tasks or people coming and interrupting me and me having to, take over, well, not take over, but just trying to shift gears and to help someone else versus, having a time block so I can actually focus on things. Admittedly, browsing Facebook and all that definitely takes up some time. But once you see those numbers looking at you, it's crazy. Like, you have no excuse. You're like, well, is it acceptable that I'm spending this much time doing this that actually isn't really doing anything to bring me money? So it's critical. And even even if you want to spend more time with family, it's still a great tool because you can track that. And probably don't tell the family that that's what you're doing. You're like, oh, I'm starting my family time. Blurp. You're like, well, what? Are we on a timer or something? So keep it to yourself. But you can see how much quality time you spend with your family. And if your goal is to raise that, you can track that over a period of time. But you can't do it without tracking the numbers. Like, absolutely. It's one of my core things. If you don't know the numbers, you're basically you're flying blind. All right, so I am fully stopped bleeding. Happy to report. Next up, social media, a big part of most businesses and professional life now, but it's really, really annoying having to manually do those posts all the time, right? And the one thing that every trainer, every social media expert will tell you is consistency is key. You need to put out. It's one of the reasons why we're going to the new studio. We're going back to the old studio because I don't like. I mean, I could definitely move that back, but honestly, I think the other setup's going to be better. I have gotten some comments that people like the old setup better, so I'm going back. So be sure to come back next month. So consistency is key. You need to be making posts, not necessarily, not every hour, but you need to be doing consistent posts either, every day or, once or twice a week. And Buffer is a tool that really helps you do that. So what Buffer does is it basically allows you to pre-plan social media posts and then send those posts to all of your social media accounts. So you can go here and you can see that basically what you do, you just click on which accounts you want to send the post to. And then you type what you want the post to say here. You add the image there, and then it'll automatically either make the post immediately or you can schedule it in the future. And this is how life becomes a lot easier with social media posting. Currently, I have about 70 items in my Buffer queued up for the the two businesses that I am actively pushing, actually three. So we have Great Thanks Tampa Bay, which is my local show in Tampa Bay, and on that I push like local restaurants, things to do, information. So I have about 60 or 70 posts scheduled up on that. I have 60 or 70 real estate posts scheduled up for my realtor account. And then for BizTweaks, for this, the business help side of things, I have probably about 20 scheduled up because this is a younger endeavor than the other two. So this one I'm still kind of feeling my way through to figure out how best to help people. So if you have any comments or concerns, or questions, please leave me a comment below because it really helps me out. It's going to help me fine tune what we're trying to do here with BizTweaks. I definitely know we want to help businesses. I'm still working on the best way to do that. So So in Buffer, you can also see over here, this is basically what the queue for the social media accounts here. So here we can see that this is for the Buffer. This is the Buffer account because this is a screenshot from their page. And these are all the posts queued up for Facebook. And you can see they're in a chronological order. If you want to move them around, you can drag them around to various locations. You can also shuffle the entire queue if you want to mix things up a little bit. If you have multiple people, if say you have a marketing um, person on your team or something like that, they can create draft posts, which can go here, and then you are able to log in and review them, make sure that they're appropriate, and then you can approve them, and they will move over to your queue. One of the other cool things, it'll also give you analytics. So whenever you put a link into the social post, so let's say that you're making a Twitter post and there's a link to a podcast episode or something like that. What Buffer automatically does is it shortens the URL, which is important, especially for Twitter because there is a character limit. So it makes the link as short as it can and then posts it. And then in analytics here, it actually monitors how many times that link was clicked. It monitors how many comments that post got, and it monitors how many likes it got. And with that, you can really see trends with what posts your readers are responding to, and then you can hone in and focus on that content a little bit more. Very, very, very cool stuff. One amazing thing that I've done with Buffer is I have linked with another tool that I'm going to be going on a little bit later. I've linked a spreadsheet to Buffer where basically I can create 50 posts in literally 3 seconds. It's awesome. Really makes the social media game a lot easier. HootSuite is another tool that you see a lot when people are talking about social media and managing their social media accounts. HootSuite is really more designed for the engagement side of things. They do have post scheduling and some other fun things like that. Buffer's really more for massive posts. HootSuite's really more on the engagement side of things. Buffer does have a engagement side as well, where you can monitor comments a lot easier. It's definitely not as refined as Hootsuite is. So depending upon which side is more important to you, it might dictate which one of these tools you want to use. But both of them do have free trials, so give them a try and see which one works best for you. Personally, I don't use Hootsuite currently, just because the amount of comments and stuff that I get, I'm able to manage manually, old school style. So, but once you get to a certain point where you're getting 30, 40 messages or comments per post, then it probably becomes a lot easier to use something like Hootsuite because it combines everything together here in one dashboard, and you can just bing, bang, boom, reply to all these, answer questions. It's very, very cool. How do you design all these images? Well, Canva is probably the best well-known online tool to create social images, and the reason why is because it's awesome. Honestly, most businesses, you probably don't even need Photoshop. If you can take good photos, Photoshop's still unsurpassed so far as editing videos, editing photos, white balancing, and all that stuff. But Canva, if you're looking to assemble social media posts or marketing images, amazing software tool. And it's all done via a website. So if you have internet access, you can access all of your marketing images. So this one's a little outdated. They've actually updated their tool currently. But this is the example of this. This is literally my Canva account. So you can see here I have all of the various social images that I do. So this is like an Instagram one. This is a YouTube title, which I've updated that a little bit. You can create Instagram stories. You can have multiple templates, so you can just go in and edit the ones that you want. A lot of things that people don't know that Canva can do. It can do animated pictures, so GIFs, however you want to call them. It'll also do print, so if you need to do a newsletter or a mailing or a brochure or a flyer, they have templates already in there that you can go do. And Canva, most businesses are going to be able to use Canva for free. It's amazing stuff. Really, most people that pay for Canva, the reason why is because they have a few businesses that they're working with. And you can create style guides with, like fonts and colors for each business. And you can also upload your own fonts, which if you're trying to, maintain consistent branding, you might want to upload your, your fonts that you use. But there's a ton to choose from here. It's pretty much free for almost every business user. So if you're wanting to make, just some really cool stuff, be sure to go check Canva out. And let's see how we're doing here. All right, we still got people here. I like it. Thanks for watching, guys. We still got more goodies coming up. All right, Repurpose IO. So this one is it's a little specific, but it does something that's very, very, very difficult to find on other platforms. So what Repurpose IO will do is it will sit and it will watch your Facebook account. It'll watch your Facebook business page. It'll watch YouTube. It'll watch a podcast stream, and it will take actions depending upon what gets posted. So, like in my case, I have it set up to where whenever I do a Facebook Live on one of my business accounts, it'll automatically take that Facebook Live, convert it into video, upload that video to YouTube with the description and, some tags and stuff like that and the thumbnail. It'll automatically do that for me. And then it'll also take that video. It'll upload it to LinkedIn, which is awesome. And it'll also take that video, it'll extract the audio out of it, and it will upload that audio to my podcast stream, so that with one video and without me actually having to do anything, I don't have to copy anything. I don't have to do, well, little catch there. So the podcast, I do actually have to go in and click publish, but it handles all of the audio transfer, the uploads, the thumbnails. Oops. Okay, yeah, I think I'm still good. The thumbnails, the text, the information. So it will take one piece of content and distribute it into multiple places. It'll also do Twitter. It'll send it to Instagram TV. And it'll do it for like $20 a month. It's crazy what this thing will do. I have yet to find another tool that will do what Repurpose IO will do. It takes a little bit of a setup, and you do have to think logically if you have other automations set up, because you can kind of get into a loop. So you have to watch it a little bit. Don't ask me how I know. But very, very powerful tool. So if you're doing Facebook Lives, doing anything with video and wanting to distribute it into multiple places, you owe it to yourself to check out repurpose.io, because it will save you a ton of time. Next up, we have probably the hidden corners of the productivity suites that a bunch of people use. So if you use G Suite, you really owe it to yourself to go and look at all of the additional things that are available. So obviously everyone knows, Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Sheets, Google Docs. Everybody knows this stuff. Google Plus isn't a thing anymore. But there's a whole stretch of other things in G Suite here that could probably help your business out quite a bit once you understand what it is and what it does. So there's team collaboration stuff where you can work with other members of your company or vendors. I use it with, so I don't use G Suite, so I can't really talk too much about G Suite, but, you can use a collaboration tool to work with virtual assistants so you can stay on the same page. So be sure to go, if you use G Suite, go take a look, because there's probably some other stuff here that you can be using that's going to make your life a lot easier. If you spend a little bit of time to see what it does and then give it some thought about how it can apply to your business. Office 365, I'm a little bit more familiar with. So this is a lot of the stuff that Office 365 will do. Some of the parts that a lot of people don't know is the bookings here. So if you do any sort of meetings or services or anything like that, if you're a at-home hairstylist, you can manage your bookings in Office 365 here. Office 365 also gives you free access to MyLikeHugh, I believe. So it's been a little while since I've had to log back in, but I'm 90% sure that Office 365 will get you access to the paid version of MyLikeHugh. You also have access to forums where you can create, online forms for people to fill out. Have access to Teams, which is that group collaboration where if you have multiple people working on a project, they can all be on that same project and collaborate and communicate back and forth. Very, very, very cool stuff. OneNote's probably the one that most people don't use that they probably should. OneNote is basically an app that allows you to take notes. So you can, basically just screenshot something, upload it in there. You can annotate pictures like this. You can create checkboxes, which is handy for creating checklists and stuff like that. One of the ways I do it, so whenever I'm reading a book, I do note cards with key takeaways from the book. And I have a note. So OneNote organizes things kind of like notebooks. So I have a notebook called Book Notes, that's a lot of book, the word book and notes in one sentence there. But I have a notebook called Book Notes in OneNote. And what I do is I open the OneNote app on my phone and I take a picture of the card and I put sorry about that. I put the name of the book in the title here so it shows up. And then what it does, it will actually go through this handwritten note and it will do optical character recognition on my handwriting so that I can now search this note. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a book if it's just, class notes or meeting notes or anything like that. You can put it in OneNote. It's going to digitize that handwriting. Or you can just type it directly into OneNote. And then you're going to be able to search that history of anything that's entered into OneNote. It's crazy powerful. It's one of those things that once you get in the habit of using it, it becomes indispensable. And it becomes a tremendous resource for just trying to remember things and trying to organize your thoughts. If you're trying to do like a video plan or a business plan or anything like that, where you're combining research together and then assembling that research together into a cohesive like thought or paper, indispensable. Can't recommend it enough. And it's free. It's free with Office 365. Bookings I mentioned before, and this is my old logo. This is the new logo. So with bookings here, you can see that I have this set up for just pretty basic meeting stuff. So I have people call me up. They're like, hey, I want to do a podcast interview. So I send them a link to this. They can book it here. It automatically pulls my schedule from my Outlook calendar, and then they can schedule a time, and it only gives them access to the times that I have open. So very, very cool. vtiger, which I mentioned earlier as the customer relationship management software, also has that similar feature, and this is what it looks like. And as you can see, not quite as nice as the Office 365 version, but basically the same thing. So you can link vtiger to your Outlook calendar or your Google Calendar, and then you can send people to your meeting scheduler here. And then all they would just click on that, and then it gives them the available times on the day that they're interested in, and they can book it, and it automatically puts it into your calendar and sends you a notification saying, hey, this person booked this at this time. Makes life a lot easier. It eliminates all that back and forth with, hey, does this time work for you? Nope, sorry. Well, does this time work? Well, it works for me, but let me check with so-and-so. You can eliminate all that. You send them an email or on the phone call, you'd be like, hey, I'm going to send you a link to my scheduler. I found this is the easiest way to get everybody on the same page time-wise. So just take a look, whatever time works best for you, pick it, and I'll be there. It works great. This is the software that I'm using currently for that. It's called Calendly. It's a little bit more polished than both Bookings and vtiger. A little bit more streamlined, a little bit more stylish, but also the back end, it gives you a lot more options so far as scheduling. So in Calendly, I think they have a free trial as well, so be sure to check them out if you do any sort of appointment setting or anything like that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a hair salon. If you have phone calls and you try to schedule phone calls with people, I literally almost all of my real estate phone calls happen via this system, and everybody loves it. But you have to make sure to frame it that you're trying to make things as easy as possible for them, because otherwise people can feel like they're being your secretary, which you don't want. Evernote's kind of looping back around to the note-taking thing. So if you're not in the Office 365 environment, Evernote's a really good alternative to OneNote. It works a little bit differently, but the core functionality is about the same. So you can do typed notes, you can bookmark web pages that you find interesting or articles, and it'll index that, and then you can search it later on. It's awesome. It'll also do the same thing with searching handwritten notes. Crazy stuff. If you're not using one of these, you're really dropping the ball, because nobody can remember all of this stuff. And we still got more. If you're thinking about doing keywords or SEO, search engine optimization for your website, where you're trying to rank high in Google, Semrush is going to be your best bet for statistics and information on both your own website, keyword research, and competitor research. It's a little expensive. I think it's like $50 or $100 a month. But if any part of your business strategy is getting people to your website, this tool pays dividends over the course of a few months. SEO takes a little while for it to come up, for it to start turning its wheels and going. But once it does, it's nice, because you rank high in Google, and you just get that steady stream of people coming to you for information. If you'd rather not spend all that money for Semrush, Keyword Keg is a good alternative. Pretty much the same thing. It'll give it really excels at keyword research and ranking difficulties and stuff like that, and giving you the information for the keywords that you want to target. If you do phone calls, one of the most annoying thing about doing phone calls, I can tell you, is having to manually dial numbers. I hate it. And it slows you down. Like, how long does it take you to find a contact record, find their phone number, dial the phone? It's annoying. Mojo basically is a web tool that eliminates that. So what you do, you load your database up into Mojo, and you can separate it into calling lists here. And this is not mine. This is a screenshot. But this is a real estate example here. So basically, you load your database up into Mojo, and you can categorize your people into calling lists and groups as well. And you basically select one of these calling lists, and then you click Power Dialer. It opens a new screen. You call in to the phone number with your phone, and I prefer using a headset, just because this to me gets really annoying. The in-ear devices really get on my nerves. I don't know what it is. I don't know if my ears are just a weird size. So I use a headset like this. But basically what Mojo Dialer will do is it will then start at the top, and it will dial every number. And you have two choices. You can do a single line, which is basically where it'll call one number at a time. If they answer, it'll notify you via a beep. If you set it, I do recommend setting it with a beep. So it'll beep, and you can start your conversation. Hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. But when it really gets cool, especially if you're doing cold calling, is it'll call 3 people at once, and then the first person to pick up the phone, it'll beep and then give you the call so you can take it. And then the other calls, it'll actually shut the calls down and then hold until you complete the call that you're on. You put information in regarding the phone call. So it's like, hey, they were very interested in X products. And then you can add them to a different call list. You can schedule follow-ups. You can automatically send them an email out of the system, or you can even send them a text message. One of the things I do is I'll be calling like my buyer lists for the list of people that said that they are thinking about buying in the next, 4 or 5 months, whatever. So I'll go through the list, I'll call them. If they don't pick up, I have a text message saved where if they don't call, it'll automatically send them a text message saying, hey, sorry I missed you. Give me a call if you have any questions. And then if the other cool thing it'll do is if you get voicemail, which happens a lot, you can pre-record a voicemail message so that you don't have to sit through that entire voicemail, leave your number at the beep, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to sit through all that. You just record hey, it's Kyle Sasser is calling you to see if you had any questions regarding, buying. Give me a call back. My phone number is 813, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can pre-record that, and then as soon as you hear that it's a voicemail, you just hit send. Send a voicemail, and it will start calling the next one, and the system will hold that voicemail call open until it hears that voicemail tone, and then it will play that recorded message to the voicemail. Amazing stuff. It makes you can call a ton of people with this system. If you're interested in this, I'm going to send you a link because there is I do get a credit if you sign up for this. So I'll put that in the description below and in a follow-up email after this video. Swiftcall, so Mojo is a little expensive. I think it starts at like 50 or $100, something like that. So it's a little on the pricey side, but personally, it causes me to be very disciplined in my calling. And it also, as you can see, it does reports. So if you're working with a team doing calls, this is great because you can see like how many calls somebody made, how many actual contacts they had versus voicemails. But I find that this forces me to be more disciplined in my calling. If you'd rather not go this route, there's an app called Swiftcall, which I know it's for iOS. I think it's also for Android as well. But basically the same thing. You can load up your contacts into this app, and it'll basically just start and it'll automatically call. So you're not having to manually enter all that information. You can, as you see here, you can also follow up calls with emails, and then you can categorize them after the call, hot, cold, warm, etc. This is, I forget the name of this one. For your mobile apps, oh man, I can't believe I forgot the name of this one. Ugh. Basically what this one does is you can set it to where it'll automatically do things and send things on your phone with just based off of what you do. So like you can say, hey Siri, I'm going to lunch, and it'll automatically set your phone to do not disturb and send an email to your secretary saying, hey, I'm at lunch, hold calls, or it'll do multiple things based off of what you're currently doing. If you're in the car, it'll automatically shut itself off. So you're not distracted during calls. If you arrive in the office, it can do the same thing, maybe the first hour or two. It can also take actions in other apps. So, as you can see here, it can do things in Twitter. I used this app a few months ago. It didn't really fit my business model that much. So that's why I can't remember the name of it. If you're curious what the name of that app is, just leave me a comment and I'll find it and send it to you. Another thing to remember is that your phone, I know this is a very old picture of iOS, but your phone can actually function a lot as a secretary as well. So if you're driving, something comes up, you remember something. Everyone knows about the Note app, but you probably shouldn't be typing when you're in your car. So you can literally just hold down the button. Hey Siri, remind me when I get home to remind me to eat cookies when I get home. And you can also do like remind me when I get to the office to call Brian, or remind me at 7 p.m. tonight to take the trash out. And nope, I don't need that reminder today. But very quickly, you can get yourself on task and get those reminders to keep your business running as quickly as possible. Now, this little final section here is on integrations. So every one of the apps so far have been their own individual thing. With the exception of vtiger. vtiger will integrate with a lot of stuff because it's a CRM, so it wants to connect to a lot of other apps. But there are other website tools that will take information from one website and move it and transfer it to another one. And it can do transformations on that as well. So if this then that is the first one. It's kind of the consumer level model, I guess you could say. It's designed for very easy and simple transformations. So like for example, if there's a new Google Reader, that doesn't even exist anymore either. So let's say that if there's a new post in a RSS feed on a website or like a podcast, then it'll automatically take that information and send it out as a tweet. You can also set it to if there is a new video on a YouTube page to send you a notification to watch it. If you get an email that has a certain text in the subject line, it'll automatically send you a text message. Very cool stuff. It's not as business process wise, it's not as flexible just because it doesn't have as many connections to business tools. But if you only need like really simple automations, if this then that, which is website's ifttt, so if3ts, is a good place to try out and kind of get your feet wet in automations. Zapier is kind of the 800 pound gorilla in the automations and integrations market. And this is why. So this is, every one of these icons is one of the websites and software tools that Zapier will connect. And it'll connect any one of these to any other one of these. So you can connect, so that you can connect Evernote to Gmail. You can connect, let's see what else we have here. So you can connect Zoho CRM to Buffer. You can connect, that's an old one. So you can connect Joomla to Facebook. You can connect, what's that one? I forget what that one is. You can connect Facebook to Twitter. So whenever you post something on Facebook, it'll automatically grab it and post it on Twitter. You can connect Instagram to MailChimp. Not sure how that would be helpful exactly, but you can do it. And then this is the other half of that image. These are still more software tools that Zapier will interconnect. And I think there's about double this now. Blogger to WordPress. Crazy. Etsy to WordPress. Crazy stuff. And the way that this connects together is relatively straightforward. This is a few of they call them zaps, these interconnections. So these are a few of the zaps that I've set up. So whenever, this is the one where how I've created all those social posts. So I have a Google Sheet with information in each of the separate column files. And whenever Zapier sits there and watches that Google Sheet, and anytime anything updates on that sheet, it will create a post. It'll create an entry in Buffer for a post on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So in literally 2 seconds, I can update every column in that Google Sheets, and it'll create a social post for each and every one of those. It's crazy stuff. This section down here, I have it where it'll grab YouTube videos, pull the video and the description information, and automatically create a post on my WordPress site. Amazing stuff. It makes this Zapier, Integramat, and like PySync are some of the tools that are really going to make your business sing. And you can see here, like more stuff. We can connect ActiveCampaign, Amazon S3 if you're doing AWS or doing Amazon buckets. Act Premium if for some reason you're using a old Symantec product. So when you're ready to turbocharge your business, automations are probably going to be a segment that can really just hit the accelerator pedal on that. This is a screenshot of everything that I've talked about today. So if you want, hit that print screen button. Hold up your phone, take a picture of that. This is literally every app and application that I've talked about today. If you have any comments, leave it down for me below. Let me see what I got here. All right. Hey, everybody that's watching, I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So this is all of the apps that I've talked about today. Honestly, if I had to tell people, so the one that you should do before all others, if you haven't, is the CRM, because that's really, and you have to be steadfast in using it. You have to make sure that you're putting your contacts in there and updating them every time that you talk with them. Once you get that history built up, it becomes second nature, and it's crazy what you can do. For example, one of the things I've done is I've connected vtiger with Outlook, and by doing that, it also brings over all the contacts from vtiger, which I then have Outlook set up as a calendar in my phone, or as a contact source in my phone. So whenever I enter someone new into vtiger, their contact information automatically shows up in my phone within about 3 minutes, and which doesn't sound like that big of a deal. But the cool part is, whenever somebody calls me, I answer it with their name. So I've literally had people. We've had the initial conversation. I put their information in. They call me back like 3 minutes later because they forgot something, and I'm like, "Hey, John, how's it going? What'd you forget?" And they're like, "Wow." Like, you can tell they're taken aback because like most people don't, they just have a bunch of numbers in their phone. It's rare that they have that in-depth business contacts in their phone where they can answer the phone by name. It's a crazy technique to really make yourself seem seem professional as hell. So that's all the apps. If you have any questions or thoughts, if you have some other apps that you think might work better than some of these, please, leave me a comment, let me know, because I'm always looking to try new things. Because honestly, I want to make my business run easier. And each one of these have a specific task or section of your business that they can help in. If it's up to you to decide whether they're applicable or not. Like, there's not, with the exception of the CRM, there's not one of these that is applicable to all businesses. So again, what's the most annoying time waster in your business? Did I go over an app that you think is going to save you a ton of time, or that's interesting to you that you think might be applicable to your business? Leave me a comment below. If you need some help implementing any of this stuff, feel free to send me an email, kyle@biztweaks.com. Other than that, we got all the business keeping stuff here. Be sure to subscribe to the BizTweaks channel here, because I do post videos regularly covering a bunch of stuff that makes business and your professional life a lot easier. We also have a podcast. If you'd prefer to do that, it's on iTunes, Spotify, and all that good stuff. And this is what all of the BizTweaks podcast listeners look like. Stars in their eyes. We also have a BizTweaks discussion group, which feel free to go to Facebook and join that. We do have some comments, discussions. I post some surveys there on occasion for just ideas for future videos, stuff that people are actually struggling with. It's a great resource. And if you need help with anything that we've discussed today, or maybe just having trouble with some other part of your business, I would be happy to have a conversation with you and to see what I can do to help. You can reach out to me at Kyle@biztweaks.com. That's KYLE@biztweaks.com. And you can also send me an email if you're interested in that mastermind trial. So thanks so much for coming to this Business Builders Live. These are the websites that I, for my businesses. If any of those are interesting to you, be sure to check them out. This is also my email. You can send me an email there, and I'll get it as well. So however you want to reach out to me. Other than that, I hope you found some things of use in this video. Let's see. Oh, well, we do have a question here. So Glenn says, do you use anything for proposals? What do you use for e-signatures? So, well, I'll just leave it up here on this contact page. So, okay, so that's kind of a two-part question. So for proposals, quotes, and things of that nature, I send those out of my CRM package because vtiger, as I mentioned earlier, is awesome enough that it has, you can put your product information in there as well as pricing and price books. And those price books can vary depending upon customers. So let's say that you have different tiers for different customer classes. Let's say that, one customer, if they spend over $1 million with you, they get this percentage off, and this other one, if they spend between $300,000 and $600,000, they get a different percentage or something like that. You can create those price books in vtiger and assign it to each organization. And then with that, you can create the quote in vtiger and then email it to them. And added bonus, I mentioned with the customer portal being available in vtiger as well, your customer, in addition to receiving it in their email, they can actually log into that customer portal and see the quote as well as all of the historic quotes that has been sent to them. It's an awesome way to do it. If you have QuickBooks, you can certainly do it out of QuickBooks as well, because I do think it is important to use as few tools as possible. You don't want to be using like 20, 30 tools to get one or two things done. But honestly, my recommendation would be to consolidate everything as much as possible. And a CRM is, especially when it comes to quotes and, invoicing is, well, invoicing, it depends on your business product, but certainly the early parts of the sales stage, I think, should be in the CRM side. The other cool thing that vtiger and other larger, better CRMs will do is they'll do light project management. So not as robust as, some of the dedicated project management, but they will do project management good enough unless you're doing like a large construction project or something like that. But by keeping all that information consolidated into that one location, it really helps everyone. It helps the client because, as I said, they can go in the customer portal and review all that information. And it helps you out because you can also see all that historic information in one place. You can see what they, how they felt about it. Like if they actually decided to go ahead with that quote, you can schedule follow-ups inside of that and then attach the quote as well, or the proposal. And it makes everything a lot more professional, and you're not caught off guard as much, and you're able to present a much more professional front to the client, which is invaluable. Now, so far as e-signatures go, two options for that. One, again, consolidate as much as possible. So vtiger does actually connect to DocuSign. So you can actually create a proposal, email it out to somebody, and then they can sign it and basically have a signed proposal all within one system. It's a little finicky to get set up, but it's certainly doable inside of the vtiger space. Salesforce and some of the other CRMs, they also have the ability for online signatures inside of their ecosystem. And again, consolidation as much as possible is key for a smooth running operation. If you want a standalone version or something like that, DocuSign is certainly a good option, and it's relatively affordable. I think it's $15 a month to get started, something like that. Another one, I would recommend trying out a couple of them though, because DocuSign does handle certain parts weird, especially when it comes to changes, strike throughs, and stuff like that. I know I've used both for my real estate business, which with a lot of um, comes with a lot of changes, markups, negotiations and stuff like that. So DocuSign's not quite so good on that part of it. But so far, if you're just sending straight proposals for signatures, it's perfectly serviceable. Another option is it's called Dotloop, which is what I still primarily use for my real estate business. And it's good for assembling packages. So if you have multiple documents to do, it's good. It's also, the user interface is actually a lot easier as well compared to DocuSign. So basically, they could just click on something. So both of them are basically click to sign, but the way that Dotloop lays it out, it makes a little bit more sense to clients. Because I deal with some older folks pretty regularly here in the Tampa Bay area, and just people that aren't quite as computer savvy, and having that clear information at the top for what to do really helps out in getting the electronic signatures. So if you're tying it into a proposal system and looking to consolidate everything, I would say to do all of it. All of it can be done in vtiger or another large CRM system. And if you're looking for an outside solution, DocuSign or Dotloop are probably your best bets for that. So thank you so much for the question. I hope that helps you out and answers it. If you have any other questions, you can just send me a. Oops! I just saw that my stuff is covered up there. I keep meaning to change the slide. There we go. So if you have any additional questions, you can send me an email here or give me a call there. I'll be happy to help you out with any of those systems or the vtiger integration. It's a little, like I said, the vtiger DocuSign link is a little weird, but it's cool because once it's set up, you can actually see the signed documents inside of vtiger. So definitely cool stuff. So, all right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found some value here. I hope you got some ideas to help you out with your business. My name is Kyle Sasser. As I said, if anybody has any questions or ideas, please feel free to reach out to me at either of those below. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in this Thursday morning, and I'll talk to you soon.